G'day guys and gal, Vulkan lives! Not just the battle cry of the salamanders, but also a pretty undisputable fact, since Vulkan seemingly cannot die no matter how hard people try to put him in the ground. He has been frozen, burnt alive, decapitated, crushed, shredded, had his organs removed and literally unmade on the atomic level, and the man just keeps trugging along. However, he did actually die once pretty hard, turning into a literal corpse for months, until through the biggest effort by a group of Space Marines I've ever seen, he was brought back to life to crush Magnus the Red's balls and save the day. But how did he suffer this near true death, and what method was used to bring him back? Two good questions with even better lore to answer them. Before we get started, I hope Fridays are becoming your favorite days, as we are releasing another brand new major mini. This time it's the Captain of the Flaming Dragons, a steadfast, honorable and utterly committed warrior. This model makes a great centerpiece or captain for any Flaming Dragon army, or a great starting point to create your own one from. He features two weapon loadout variants, including a fire pike as well as a sword and pistol combo, as well as a custom 32mm volcanic base. Even if you aren't interested in this bad boy, you gotta show him to your Flaming Dragon buddies, or simply check out the rest of the range, which includes the new Grey Slayer, the girthy Shark Daddy, the terrifying Empire Ender, or the clean as hell Hawk Lord, amongst many, many more. All orders over $75 ship for free worldwide, link is below. Today we'll go over Vulkan's temporary true death, followed by the wild tale of his resurrection, and the sacrifice his sons had to make to get him there. Also, shout out to Alex Christie for the amazing thumbnail artwork, featuring the salamanders mourning their father just before they begun their epic journey to try bring him back. High-res version is available on my Patreon for free. Let's get into it. A question some people ask is, what is the source of Vulkan's immortality? Sure, most Primarchs are super hard to kill, with some having a better healing factor than others, like Fulgrim who heals wildly quickly, but Vulkan was just straight up unkillable due to his status as a perpetual, a being that was immune to almost all forms of death, with only an extremely specific method of murder being applicable to him. Like the dude was hit with a turbo spell of unmaking by Magnus, who made the spell specifically to kill perpetuals, and Vulkan managed to just walk it off. Vulkan's first death was on Isstvan, when he was surrounded by and stabbed to death by the traitors. However, seeing that he managed to heal from that, Horus gave Vulkan to Conrad Curse, thinking that if someone could kill the unkillable, it would be him, and boy did Curse try. Every form of murder that existed was tested. Dude probably also fisted him in shit, it was grim as. But much to Conrad's annoyance, Vulkan regenerated each and every time, so he shifted his focus. He would try break Vulkan's spirit and mind, which almost succeeded. However, with the help from the Emperor reaching out to his son and giving him strength, Vulkan was able to escape. Unfortunately, this escape involved teleporting into the upper atmosphere of Macragge and then falling down to the earth like a flaming comet, getting incinerated during the fall before dying really fucking hard. This did actually take him a bit to regenerate from, because he was turbo dead. However, the man still managed to do it, but his mind did not. Vulkan was now insane. But he wasn't like this retarded berserker though. When Curse arrived on Macragge, Vulkan was still lucid enough to armor and arm himself before hunting down Curse and fighting him. He didn't just rampage through Macragge, massive schlong bouncing around. In the meantime, the agents of the Cabal in possession of the Fulgurite, a shard of the Emperor's psychic might that was able to permakill perpetuals, were also on Macragge, with the mission to give Conrad the Fulgurite so that he may permakill Vulkan. See, Vulkan was like a turbo perpetual. Most perpetuals can be killed through extreme psychic power or a big ass super hit, like with how Horus killed Alanis, but not Vulkan. Only a Primarch wielding the Fulgurite could kill him. The Cabal wished for Vulkan's death, as they foresaw that he would save the Imperium, and since they wanted the Imperium to lose, he could not be allowed to fulfill his destiny. However, one of the agents, John Grammaticus, was sick of betraying his own species and did not wish to see mankind fall, so he decided to sabotage the plan. When Vulkan was cornered, with John having the option to give Curse the Fulgurite, he instead stabbed Vulkan himself with it, the blowback stripping John of his own perpetual powers and killing Vulkan. Vulkan did not regenerate from this strike, nor could anyone remove the Fulgurite from his chest, no matter how hard they tried. The salamanders on Macragge were devastated to learn that not only did their Primarch survive Isstvan, but then was to die just before they could be reunited. No one took this harder than Artellus Numion, who was the one to coin the phrase, "Vulkan lives!" as he felt it in his bones that his Primarch persisted. Vulkan would not rise from this death though. Sometimes his sons thought they heard a heartbeat near him, but it's not clear if this was just their imagination, or if he was able to beat his heart at the rate of 1 beat per month. There was another time where his corpse accidentally triggered his Warhammer's teleporter and teleported into a different part of Macragge, only for Artellus himself to be the one to find him. There was a lot of fuckery going on that was really gaslighting his salamander sons. Some were in denial, believing that with enough faith, Vulkan would return to them. Others accepted he was dead and encouraged their brothers to do the same. Eventually, the Salamanders on Macragge agreed to brave the Ruinstorm to take Vulkan back to Nocturne. Artellus believed this would revive him, the others just wanted to see their Primarch put to rest, so the Mad Lads fucking launched into the Ruinstorm and were then pursued by Wordbearers and Death Guard. The Wordbearers wanting the Fulgurite, the Death Guard wanting Vulkan's corpse. To say this was an unpleasant trip is to say that getting turbo fucked in the ass by a whale might leave you a bit sore. They were constantly getting smashed by warp turbulence, while getting boarded by traitor space marines from 2 legions, and dealing with near constant demonic incursions. There was this fucking demon bitch who took the form of a giggly child that led crewmen into the dark places of the ship before devouring them. However, time and time again, the Salamanders fought on, with Artellus himself seeming to have some kind of divine protection that manifested via talisman he wore, a small artifact of Vulkan, yet the talisman itself had no technology or special properties that could be determined. He experienced miracles like surviving a fire blast that should have killed him, overcoming the demon bitches through sheer faith, and smashing a big ass space marine way harder than he had any right to. However, despite his faith, the Salamanders were on their last legs. Their ship was on the verge of coming apart, they were overrun with traitors, and they still didn't have any way out of the storm. But then something dope happened. A shard of Magnus the Red carved his way through the warp and arrived on the Salamander ship, scaring away the demons and Wordbearers alike with his sheer awesome presence. He confronted Artellus and mocked him, changing form to show him his own Primarch as well as many other forms Magnus can take, but in reality it was all a show. Magnus, or at least this shard of Magnus, truly loved his brother Vulkan. Vulkan who had always been kind to him, Vulkan who had shared his love of knowledge and learning. This shard was devastated by his brother's death and had been twisting fate all along to bring about his return. It was he, not Vulkan, that acted as Artellus' guardian angel, using his power to allow Artellus to cheat death time and time again. He then showed Artellus a cryptic vision to act as a clue on how to bring Vulkan back, before then guiding the Salamander ship through the Ruinstorm and onto Nocturne. He then departed. This was just a shard of Magnus, which when reformed with the true Magnus, still fondly remembered this moment. Magnus risked his own destruction to save the Salamanders and get them through the storm. Without him, the Salamanders would have been lost, alongside their dead Primarch. Although the Wordbearers had fucked off, the Death Guard was still horny for Vulkan's dick, so they actually launched an invasion of Nocturne hot on the heels of the Salamanders. They attempted to virus bomb the Salamander forces, a small garrison of mostly new recruits and a few veterans, but Nocturne is so hostile to life that the Life Eater virus was literally burning up in the atmosphere. Any particles that survived then got turbo incinerated by the Salamanders, who were wielding the galaxy's biggest flamethrower. Seeing this, the Death Guard launched the ground invasion, and boy oh boy did that not go well. Their presence disturbed the great beasts of Nocturne, who emerged from the ground and began massacring the Death Guard army. With the beasts as an anvil, the Salamanders became the hammer, charging forward and crushing the Death Guard army between the two forces. Nocturne and Vulkan's corpse was saved. Artellus believed that he had done it. Vulkan was home. All he needed to do was bury him in the volcano called Deathfire, and he would be reborn in ash and fire. However, despite doing a proper burial, Vulkan still did not return. He remained dead. This completely shattered Artellus, so as a final gambit, he left his armor behind and trekked across Nocturne to Mount Deathfire. He then threw himself into the volcano. The Salamanders went out to try find him because, you know, he was their fucking leader, but instead found a fully restored, fully sane Vulkan. Now I'm really hoping that Artellus' sacrifice is what triggered Vulkan's resurrection, and it wasn't just really bad timing, and if Artellus had just waited a couple more hours, his Primarch would have returned. That would be grim as shit. As a restored Primarch, Vulkan was able to make his way to Terra, kill Magnus to stop him from ruining everything, which is a bit of a sad irony, and then create the Talisman of 7 Hammers, the ultimate failsafe that would prevent a true Chaos victory if the Emperor was to fall via turbo nuking the entire Sol system. Vulkan would actually be the longest lasting loyalist Primarch, surviving all the way until the War of the Beast, where he sacrificed himself to take out one of the Uber Demicrocs. It's unclear if jumping into a vat of pure white energy was enough to perma-kill him, or if it has simply just driven him off the setting and tucked him away on a hidden part of the galaxy. The War of the Beast was weird. You may be wondering why John didn't just give Vulkan therapy instead of stabbing him and putting his sons through hell to bring him back. It's because Vulkan was a literally broken Primarch. His sanity could not be restored with time or hugs. By John being the one to stab him, it meant Curse would be unable to do so, whilst also giving Vulkan a chance to be restored and fixed. The gambit paid off. It was definitely the most intense and convoluted resurrection in the entire setting. Where does that leave Vulkan now? Where is the big man, and is he still alive? Well, in a bit of a dick move, Vulkan said that if his sons find his artifacts, it will prove their worthiness and he will return to them. But I don't know, man, it would be weird for him to survive the War Vat and then just twiddle his thumbs for 10,000 years, waiting for his sons to break their balls going on a wild goose chase, which upon completion, he would just waltz back in and be like, "Good work, team. Now I can help because you found some superficial toys I made in my spare time." Doesn't seem very Vulcan-y to me. I honestly don't think we'll see Vulkan's return for a long ass time. Rust, the Khan, and even Dawn are more likely to come before him due to the reality that the Salamanders just aren't a super popular Space Marine chapter. But that's okay, because you gotta remember, Vulkan lives! If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Captain of the Flaming Dragons, for you or as a great gift for a mate. The support you guys have given me on the relaunch of the Major Minis is awesome, so I want to thank you again. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more fiery content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.